Welcome to our Compassion Works for All videos. And here at Compassion Works for All, we offer you our Dharma Friends newsletter and our justusfriends.org website, and many, many videos that cover many topics from meditation to healing and just thoughts about what it is to be a human being. And this video is called Compassion Works, with the clever title implying that yes, compassion as a vehicle for loving relationships, and even we can go so far as to say healing the world, compassion does work. And by embracing the idea that we practice compassion, no matter what spiritual tradition we follow, or even if we are just involved in trying to make the world a better place, we can say to ourselves every day, I practice compassion as a path for healing all beings and for healing myself. We often hear compassion used in many ways, everything from employing idiot compassion, where we are, in a sense, too forgiving or too kind or too understanding to the point that we become enablers, and yet that's not the kind of compassion we're talking about, or living compassion from a very subtle spiritual perspective. One way that we have sometimes heard compassion described is feeling for others in the same way we would feel if our only child was being swept away down a raging river, and all we could do would be to run after them, trying to save them from a certain death. To have an equanimity and a love and a deep and profound caring for all beings is a very high level of compassion. And it's good to strive for such states, but compassion has to begin with ourselves. It's often said that we can't love others more than we are capable of loving ourselves, and that capacity to love ourselves gives us that profound knowing of how hard it is to be human, how hard it is to accept the ups and downs that we all have to deal with. And so to be able to have compassion, understanding of ourselves first is crucial to being able to open our heart to others in significant and truthful ways. So in these few minutes that we have together in this video, start by considering how we love ourselves, how we feel compassion and acceptance for ourselves. In this process of meditating for a while every day on compassion, be aware of how we treat ourselves when we maybe mess up or say or do something we wish we hadn't, and how we all fall far short of our hopes and expectations for ourselves. Consider for a moment that a lot of times our inner criticism that arises so quickly and so harshly when we disappoint ourselves, consider that those reactions are survival mechanisms. little kids that are trying so hard to please adults and to make it in the world, they control their behaviors, oftentimes by recording the messages that they hear around them, messages from parents, messages from teachers. And in those moments when they are trying so hard to control their antsiness and to focus and to try to learn new tasks like learning to read, it's almost like they have to employ all those self-controlling messages that the grown-ups have taught them in order to accomplish often overwhelming tasks. But this process does not allow them to learn compassion for themselves so easily. They're pretty harsh critics. When a mother or a dad holds their child and comforts them and soothes them during times of disappointment and says to them, "You tried your best. You really did a good job. Next time it'll be easier," and accepts them with love and compassion, then that's the message that's integrated. And that's the message we can start sending to ourselves when we find ourselves being too harsh and critical. Then, like ripples in a pond, those messages of gentleness and kindness and acceptance and encouragement open our heart to a place that's more gentle and allows ourselves to awaken more of all our capacity. When we find gentleness and love and kindness in our heart, then we are far more likely to begin to offer those same messages, first of all, to our own children and our partners and people in our family and those that we love. And little by little, as we have more gentleness and kindness in our own heart, then our spontaneous response when something happens is kindness, compassion, and support for another. So the ripples ripple out, and we look at the world through a lens of greater kindness. We're more likely, when other people struggle or even do something that might cause us harm, to be able to respond with kindness, to respond with acceptance. When we remind ourselves when we're angry or upset, I practice compassion. Then it stirs us back into remembering that our highest goal is to be kind, to be accepting, and to be compassionate towards others. Little by little, again, the ripples spread out, and we have a kinder view, a gentler view, maybe a less controlling view, maybe a view that's more hopeful, and our view of the whole world, all that unfolds, all of those crises that are happening around the world, all of those people who are causing such pain and suffering for others, our view changes. It starts from our own heart, it spreads to those we're close to and we feel safe with. It keeps evolving so that more and more can be held in our heart of compassion. And little by little, we see all those in the world everywhere with love and compassion and that equanimity we mentioned. That's that place of seeing all beings equally, no matter what they've done to cause pain and suffering. We see a being in their true self, their heart self. We see their essence instead of their actions, and we hold them in compassion. and love and support. And little by little, certainly not with the stroke of a magic wand, but little by little we can see that the world can change and be different. Little by little, we can do our piece, sending out our small ripples, and be a piece of changing a worldview. Maybe 50 years, 100 years, 5,000 years, it doesn't matter. We're doing what we can now to send out peace and love and compassion so that one day all of humanity can rest in this safety of love and acceptance, and everyone practicing kindness, one towards all beings everywhere. I know it is a far-fetched view, but we can do it. Thank you for doing your part and living compassion and living kindness and being one of those beings that is spreading out the message to benefit all beings everywhere.